I was working over the line in Connecticut in the print shop, and I took the long weekend and went down to New York on the trailways. And I got off in New York 4 something in the morning, and I noticed up on 42nd and 9th Avenue they had Catholic Mass. So I went to it 5 o'clock. I went to it, and then after it was over, I walked east all the way over to First Avenue, all the way down to the Village, and then I went into the Zodiac Cafe, seen this pretty girl playing a jukebox, and I asked her what she was playing, and she invited me to her table. She was having tea. We spent the whole day together, and she had her car parked over on Houston Street, so I offered to drive her home. We get into a blinding snowstorm in Binghamton, deer everywhere, so we stopped and got a motel. Then the next morning when we got up, I said, "Gee whiz, how would you like to meet my mother and father?" She said, "Okay." We drove down there, then she gave the car to me for a week. Well, just as luck would have it, the car broke down. So I spent my whole check fixing it up, and then I drove up the thruway to Rochester and got off the exit. I didn't know where the hell Norton Street was. I drove around, called her up, I drove around again. Finally I got there. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. Her mother was up and happy. She had made a big pot of spaghetti with meatballs and sausage. I was hungry, and I asked my wife, I said, "Please ask your mother if I could have another helping." So she come back and she whispered in my ear, "Oh, my mother likes you now." Then we got married, and she wanted the honeymoon to be at the Copacabana in New York. We went there, we had something to eat, and Stevie Wonder was playing, and my wife got into a tip with a maitre d'. He wanted a big tip, and my wife wouldn't give it to him. So then we drove home. And I was all right for a while. She had the kids at Holyoke Hospital in Holyoke, Mass, near Hartford. I was only in there about an hour and a half. I smoked a whole pack of Pall Malls. I held her shoes, they're like penny loafers. Then the nurse came out, she says, "Look, you're the father of twin boys." I figured, good. Then I realized I had to work hard to feed 2 more people, diapers. She was pretty happy at the time, but it was the beginning of a very rocky road for her and me, but hers went in another direction. I'm waiting to see my twin boys, my oldest twin, Matthew, I haven't seen since '81. I really miss him. I love my kids a lot. But Matthew, I talked to him on the phone years ago. I said, "Dad is doing real bad." He said, "I'll wait for you, Dad." And I find out that you're better off to understand the disease than fight it. You'd be working up a sweat all the time if you're going to fight the disease. My family always got along good with my brother Gary. And my brother Richard, when him and I were younger, in our early 20s, we drove to Miami. We went to Crandon Park. We did beach combing. That's something I want to do again. We found small sharks that had washed up, manta rays. And what we really liked is down on Crandon Park, right around sunset, the crabs would come in to feed, and we had this garden tool. We jabbed the crabs and put them in a bag. Then we had a tin can that pickles came in. We boiled the seawater. You've never had nothing like fresh crabs. In '73, November of '73, I went to a ward where they had plastic chairs with guys sitting cross-legged staring out the window. And I said, I'm not going to be like that. They have to take you from your worst and bring you to what is acceptable in society. They discharged me. I lived at the Salvation Army on West Avenue in Rochester. I hung up clothes. I finally got out of there, went into a group home. It was almost like I was like not even anything on the inside. I had a shell, but there was nothing inside. Like a crab body. Anybody that has mental illness sometimes will pack up and leave at the drop of a hat. Because they feel it's right, but after a while they don't realize after you cross a lot of state lines, it's hard to get back. I had a couple friends just recently take off. I worry about them. Given enough time, they'll come back, because Syracuse is a unique city. You can sink roots in here, make friends, and people don't forget you. They may go by you, turn around. I haven't seen you in a couple years, Phil. How you doing? It pays to be friendly, to say hi to somebody. That doesn't hurt nobody. If you can find the girl that sees good things in you and you see good things in her, it's very helpful. Because lots of times we get bombarded by the negative or someone that's overly critical. I would rather have a coffee with a girl that's her thinking is elevated. I know that there's several people that I admire in this world. One is Mahatma Gandhi. He had achieved nirvana within his own lifetime. I care about the other people, Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. These are the great ones. They were right on the forefront. And I care about the Kennedy brothers. I care about Albert Einstein. I know they said that he had some discrepancies about keeping himself neat. That doesn't matter. What he could do with a piece of chalk and a blackboard was astounding. When you're working on a book, it's different from watching TV. You're watching what someone else did. It's more fun watching what you are doing.
Yeah.
Creating. I feel so sorry for people that can't create. They'll take a 40-ounce beer and smash it on the sidewalk. A guy told me last week, there's builders, there's destroyers, and there's the defenders. There needs to be more art supplies everywhere so people can get into it. You could have a Picasso at this table, over there a Rembrandt and another. They don't have enough to work with. And usually they say that's the budget's tight or whatever. Get some more canvas. Hang them up.